First off, approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Does anybody have any comments about the minutes, changes, anything?
Sorry. Good. Good.
Anybody? Do I hear a motion the minutes be accepted as read?
So moved.
So moved? Second, all right. Then all in favor, all approved, raise your hand. Okay, thank you very much. Public input. Do we have any public input out there besides Mr. Arbina? Anybody, no one else for public input? Okay, we'll move on. Now we're going to have a presentation from Mr. Scott Arbina about Z-Ball. Come on up, Scott.
Good evening, committee. My name is Scott Arbina.
Hello, I'm Mackenzie. I'm from New York. I'm a college student at Clemson, and I will be demonstrating today for you guys to see how the sport's played. I've watched it. I love it. I think it's a great sport so far. So.
Okay. I was here in July to do just a real brief intro of the sport. Since then, I've been working on the rule book, some investors, a calendar for next year, and we're also looking to hire a coach. Just a little bit about me. I'm a longtime sports referee. Coach Caraway is actually one of my teachers when I started sports back in middle school. I've used my sports experience to start this new sport called Z-Ball. It combines soccer, lacrosse, field hockey, probably some frisbee, and a little bit of other sports. The main concept is it's like soccer except the ball's in the player's hand. Okay, and Mackenzie's going to demonstrate. She would run with the ball. Throw the ball.
You do either hand too.
Okay. Again, it's like soccer except the ball's above the waist. And I thought this would be a lot more exciting than a picture. We actually have a live demo. If I'm on defense, I have to be a yard away, 3 feet apart. That's the floating zone. Unlike other sports where they come in and you can actually, there's a lot of contact and it gets very violent and physical. I created this so there's a safety zone right here. We have the space. Okay. Once she gains possession of the ball, the referee counts 4 seconds. And then she can run, she can stop, she can spin around. There's no traveling like in basketball. She has a 4-second count. The uniform is a tennis dress. They can wear shorts underneath it. I thought this was kind of neat because we want to base the sport here in Clemson and eventually have, regional tournaments, state tournaments, even some national events, possibly international. So down the road, just to give you an idea. The wristband designates the position of the player. We see we don't have a number. This would be her position. Kind of like soccer, you have forwards, midfielders, defenders, and a goalkeeper. All right? And then the headband kind of gives her like an Amazon Wonder Woman look, which I thought was kind of athletic. Neat, pizzazzy, so. Okay. Let's see what else we got. All the players are dressed the same. The goalie would be in a different color, just like soccer. And she would throw to her own goalie to score. I said that last time I was here, which makes it kind of unique. All other sports, you have to score on the opponent, but Z-Ball is on your team. Okay. We're still hoping and working for some events in the spring. I just want to come by and give an update tonight and let everybody know what we're doing. Thank you, Jay. Got questions?
Thank you.
We'd like to come back in the spring or summer and give an update for them. So, okay. Thank you, Jay.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Okay. New business. That's, Jay, you want to do that? Do that?
Yes. We'll let Andy.
Under the new business, Andy's going to have a proposal for us. You all got something in your email that y'all to tell you a little bit about it, but Andy's going to give us a whole lot more. Thank you, Andy.
Well, good evening. A few years back, City Council looked at a project
to create a new art center building, which would free up the art center space in the Calhoun Bridge Center so it can be renovated for camp, so that they can be in that space and have more than their 400 square foot space they're in now. And then we had an election, and it was a very expensive project, and the new council said, hold up, guys, we got some questions here. We're gonna make sure these organizations have their feet under them and are solid enough to handle such a facility, and it was determined that the timing wasn't quite right. So then a year or so later, now we kept the money and kept saving money towards the project the whole time, so now you've got about 1.7 million in reserves for the project, which is what I estimate is probably going to be 5 million. And then we did the Nettles Park Master Plan. And in that plan, it identified a space for programming, camp, place for Lindsay Watley to use primarily up on the top of the hill, the highest part of it, had the best vistas of the park. And her programming, along with what Joan is doing at the Art Center and what Angela's doing at CAM, have all blown out their space and facility capacities to the point now where there's demand for more programming, but they don't have the space or resources to provide it. And quite honestly, right now they're pushing it with what they have. There are some safety issues, I think, that they can allude to. So Councilman Duckworth brought the issue back up and is asking y'all to reconsider a recommendation to City Council to revitalize the project and hire a firm to help us get this thing going. Like do a space needs analysis, kind of figure out how the flow would work, what the space needs are, what Lindsay needs, and what the other two people need to have going on there. The first phase of the project, of course, would start with the construction out at Nettles because we have to get the Art Center a place to go. And then we could renovate that space for CAM. And if you haven't been to CAM, they've got a great veterans exhibit going on right now. They've also got an education exhibit in their space as well. So you can see that they've got the Black Heritage Trail coming up. Their space needs are really growing quickly as well. And they have a presentation they've worked together to put together, and I'm just going to hand it over to them. And then if you can just wait, I know you're going to have a lot of questions. So just wait till the end of the presentation and then just fire away. All right.
Good evening. All right, so I'm first up with the Art Center. I'm Joan Phillips from the Art Center. And the Art Center's vision is to bring the community together and provide artists revenue-generating experiences through educational adult and youth art programs, exhibitions, public art, and creative placemaking. The arts are essential for building and strengthening the community, supporting development, nurturing health and well-being, and contributing to the economic opportunity. The arts can change the vibrancy and character of a city. Currently, from last fiscal year, we have grown by 44%. So that has given us 300 more registrations than the year before, and we're probably going to either match or surpass that this year, fiscal year. Also, we know that the impact fee study indicates that Clemson will see a growth of 14,257 residents over the next 10 years, and some of them are sure to want to do art. So our current space challenges.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine.
There's a little blob that moved, but.
You're good. So our current space challenges, all you have to do is walk into our building and you'll see that our hallway has lockers, cabinets, various things that are moved in and out of the studios. When there's a class, we have a garden shed that is completely full now, a gallery closet that's completely full, offices, all the closets are full with event and art supplies. And the newest addition is a bookshelf with overflow of clay projects. We have had to limit the number of people taking classes. We have people on wait lists. Our events are reduced because we can only use the shared space for 6 months, and 3 of those months are used for summer camp. Parking is a real serious issue. I had to hire Lindsay to drive a shuttle for our skateboard event because there was no way we could fit all the people in their cars. Go ahead. So this is our current situation right now. On the far left there, you'll see the gallery during summer art camp, and we turn that into a kids' studio. So we have to cover all the floors, and we cover the walls with paper. So, because we have age 3 up until 6 in this room, and it gets a little messy. So we have to cover everything. In the middle is just one part of our painting studio. The other side mimics that side. Please note the cart in the corner there that moves in and out when we have different classes. And then on the top is our metal studio, and that's our glass fusing, which we're starting to outgrow. In the middle is my office. That's where a lot of the overflow also comes into. And on the bottom is the painting studio's closet that is completely full now. So a new building to house the Art Center would help CAM grow into a new space. CAM cannot grow as long as the Art Center is in this space. A new building to house the Art Center would provide more opportunities for artists and programming for youth, adults, team building, and professional development workshops. Previously mentioned, the challenges of parking, limited events, limited registrations, and safety would be solved with a new space to house the Art Center. Also, the Art Center can build on all its programming, including the clay and glass studios. We'd like to make those more robust. We are running more classes than canceling, and in October we offered 29 classes, 19 ran, which is a big improvement for us over the last few years. Next. Our clay program, which is our major program, has outgrown the space. We currently run 3 to 5 classes a month, and the classes are capped at 8. We have 9 open clay studios a week, and that is capped at 18. But we have over now 30 people trying to get into those spaces. So tomorrow at 9 o'clock, on the 15th of every month, the open studio calendar opens for people to register, and within 15 minutes we'll be full. And then all the people that are currently here taking the clay studio, if they didn't get into the clay studio, they have to move all their stuff out. So it's becoming an issue. There's issues storing work, clay. We have reclaimed clay, so after somebody works in clay, they have a bucket and they put all their old clay in. We have buckets of clay that are all over the place right now. And as we work to reclaim them, they're sitting around. And also, we have issues storing glazes. We have about 18 5-gallon buckets of glaze. All the amenities are downsized, which means we have a small wedging table for people to work on. The working space is cramped, and so is the storage. And we have clay work and a pugger. So a pugger reclaims the clay. You put wet clay in, and it extrudes the water out of it. It's a $5,000 piece of equipment that we received a grant for, and it sits outside. And we have kilns that should be 2 feet apart. We have 2 clay kilns and 1 glass kiln. They should be 2 feet apart. You will see in that picture on the very first, they are in a very small space, and I can just fit my body in between the 2 clay kilns. And the glass kiln has no space in between it and another kiln. But with a new place for the Art Center, we can have larger storage for classwork, studio members, monitors, and apprentices. We can have a larger glaze library, a safer glaze lab with better storage for raw materials and better ventilation. We can have safe storage for the kiln, the reclaimed clay, plaster bats, and it's called a pug mill, which is again, it's the pugger, we call it. We could have a covered clay yard, a larger space where we could add 8 wheels and run 2 beginning clay wheel classes, and that revenue for 10 months would be an additional $11,760. We would be able to have all the people in the open clay studio on the wait list register, and that would bring in an additional $1,920. And then because we reclaim clay and mix all our own glazes, Adding that class would only bring up expenses about 10%, which is about another $300 a year. With a new building, we can also, With a new building, we can also have an adult multimedia studio, which would just be for the adults. It would house the painting, our printmaking studio. We have a Conrad printing press, which is worth over $10,000, fiber and drawing. We can enhance our metalworking studio. We could have 3 large closets for storage. We could have a dedicated youth space, a dedicated gallery space, and we could have a lobby area. Also, we could be the first upstate community art center with a dedicated glass studio. That would include stained glass, which has started running and has already grown. We started with 3 people. We have 9, and now we already have people on a wait list when we open up in January with stained glass. We do fused glass. We could have flame working, and we could be the only art center in the upstate with glass blowing, with 2 mobile furnaces. With a new space, we can give the Clemson community and beyond opportunities that cannot be found in the surrounding art centers. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to make this presentation today. My name is Angela Agard. I'm the Executive Director of the Clemson Area African American Museum. As eloquently stated by my colleague Joan Phillips of the Art Center, our current situation is dire. CAM cannot grow with the current setup. CAM is a major tourist destination for the city of Clemson and Pickens County, and we are committed to telling our shared stories more completely and inclusively. Many people have a renewed interest in history, especially since we will be celebrating this nation's 250th anniversary in 2026. At that time, we will have completed our Black Heritage Trail, and we will be finishing up on our oral history project, which we received a federal grant from, which will complement all the renewed interest in local history. CAM provides educational, cultural, and recreational activities through our exhibition and programs. CAM needs space for some essential elements of a museum. I guess you can go to the next one. And CAM needs space for some essential elements of a museum, such as archives, collections, space for educational and exhibition space, and we often get questions about when we will bring out some of the items that we have in storage, and the answer is not until we have more space. Right now, some of the things that's happening because we don't have the space that we need for those things that I mentioned, we have disconnected space or staff offices. I'm here at City Hall. We have staff over at the Calhoun Bridge Center. And one of the things that happens with our staff, we have in my old office the program coordinator for the Black Heritage Trail. But from the IMLS grant, which is for oral history, we have 2 other staff people, interns, an intern and a project coordinator. And the setup currently is they usually work out of the space in the museum, and we have the museum assistant also in a little corner in that space. And when someone comes to view the exhibition, they usually get up and leave and go into Shannon's office because the museum assistant is the one giving the tour. She's up from that space. So maybe people don't quite notice what's going on, but it's always like a mass exodus when people come in. The museum is housed in one small room, and as Andy said, it's a little over 400 square feet. We have a semi-permanent exhibition in the hall, which creates a flow issue when we have tours. And you can see from that photograph, you have the children coming from the Child Development Center while we have guests trying to read the exhibit panels, and we have the museum assistant giving an explanation of some of the panels. So sometimes it gets a little hectic in that space. And I think in one of our next exhibit, next slides, well, no, somehow or another.
Right there? Is that
Yeah,
what
that
you
one,
mean?
yes,
Okay.
that one. What we tried to show here is what it looks like when we're trying to set up for an event. Most of our equipment is stored on the stage. You'll see the chairs, some of the cabinet works, even the little chairs for the Child Development Center. When the Art Center had their gallery showing for the skateboarding exhibit, that's what it looked like on a Friday night. Then they also had, we don't have a picture of that here, in that same space where you see the chairs and stuff, that's the stage dough. They had to move everything around to set up for the reception. Then we come in for the Sunday morning to do, as you see in the bottom left-hand corner, our Veterans Pop-Up exhibit. So things had to be moved around again. And we have a picture of the cart here because that's another example of what happens when we're giving a tour. That particular cart is very noisy. They have replaced it since, but when I took this picture last week, it was still in operations, and you can hear it coming down the hall. And if we're giving a tour, we have to stop, wait till she goes through the door for the Child Development Center, and then continue our tour. The other photograph you see there is, again, us using the multi-purpose room. We had some STEM programs for youth, and I believe that particular picture was when we had, it was in the summer when the Little John Community Center sent some of the students over to see our exhibition, and they were with the Call Me Mr. program. So this just gives you a little idea of what it looks like when we're shifting things around just to have our programs in that space. Back to, no.
Want to go back to the other one?
Yeah, the other one, I'm sorry. Back
That's
to-
okay.
So there's user conflict among tenants in the building, non-complementary uses. We have limited space on what we can display from our collections. And as I described earlier, we have an exorbitant amount of work to move tables and chairs back and forth from each program. And we have someone on your committee who is an eyewitness to this because before we had staff, it was he and I and a few other volunteers, and we do what we need to, but it is a lot of work. We have a limited use of when and what time of the day we can actually have access to the space. As you saw in one of the photos, we had the pop-up exhibit for the Veterans Program, and we did the exhibit for a week. However, because it's in that shared space of the auditorium, we could only put that exhibit up in the afternoon because in the daytime we have the Child Development Center there for the lunch. So on Friday, we had a few people come from Simpsonville, and they had actually donated a few things for the exhibit. They arrived in the morning, and I had to ask them to wait for the afternoon till after 1 before they could actually get into the space. And luckily they did because they really wanted to see it, but those are some of the challenges we have. One of the things that Joan said was how the new space would give her a dedicated gallery space. Right now, we split the gallery 6 months at a time. We'll have from December to about May, June, and then she takes from June back until December because the summer program, as you saw in the photograph, they use that space for the arts, for the children. We don't have any programs in the summer because of the art camp. There's just no room. And we can't have simultaneous programs because of the noise levels. It's just amazing. We have an oral history project, and one of our challenges is to figure out where we can actually record the oral histories, because even someone just walking through the hallway, there's so much ambient noise that we can't have that there. And finally, we spend a little over $10,000 a year to have storage for some of our collections. We have cabinets, we have cases, a lot of paintings and photographs and documents that is stored off-site. And that tends to be pretty expensive, especially when we don't have immediate access to it and we have to plan how we're gonna go get the stuff that we need and move things back and forth. So I've already talked about some of our space needs. Like I said, for archival and collections, storage, and even prep work. We had an incident this past week with the Veterans Pop-Up. Someone loaned us a book which belonged to her uncle that had a lot of veteran information in it. And she wanted us to display it, but our policy is we never put anything that's original or that belongs to someone out, because many people are coming in, they're flipping through pages. If someone spills water on it, what can I say but oops, I'm sorry. So what we did was we pulled it apart, we photocopied it, and some of the interns were working on it. I didn't realize that the woman that loaned us the book was there. And she saw it and she was very upset. She didn't say anything to us that day. But the next day she came back and she wanted her book back immediately. So I tried to explain to her what our policy was. And I explained that we meant no disrespect. And I explained to her why we did what we did. And she understood. But if we had a dedicated space to do our work, that would have never been an issue, because they would have never seen behind the scenes. And they would not have been like, oh, my book, you know. And we put it back perfectly well, but it was just the mere fact that she saw that and she didn't understand what it was that we were doing. So those are some of the conflicts that we run into with community. I believe I might be at a conclusion now. Yes, conclusion. So CAM's success is hinged on the ability to fully utilize the facility to build tourism through our educational and cultural programs for the upstate. Until the Arts Center moves to a new facility, the growth and the progress of CAM is stymied. Progress cannot happen without a commitment of resources and space. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Do you guys mind if I just speak from here? Is that okay?
No, it's fine.
That way I can click and,
Oh, so you don't want me to click?
yeah, I can just do it. I'm real loud. I'm sure the little thing recording over there can hear me just fine. And I'm sorry I'm not as lively and chipper as I normally am. I'm a little under the weather. But I'm happy to be here to talk about my events and programs. Obviously, I love what I do. And in my job and area, we serve everybody from birth to aging senior. So we provide programs and events that basically encompasses everybody in our area, including tourism, bringing people here for our large events. So our impact, we serve over 13,000 people a year, and that includes those big events like Halloween and the Christmas parade. We were fortunate enough to get one person added to our team, which was so exciting. So we always are adding new offerings and building on the programs that we already have, which is a great thing, but it comes with a lot of hardships. And you'll see why in just a little bit. Our biggest thing is that we have no permanent operating space at all whatsoever. And we'll talk about what that means for me and my staff. And every time that we do an event or a program, we have to coordinate a space. So we have to go out to the community and our different partners and ask them for space or even pay to rent space. I will say that comes with a lot of hardships because when you're using someone else's space, it takes even more effort and time to build those relationships with people and be sure that you leave their facilities in the way that they want you to. So there's a lot of headaches that do come with shared space. So we're looking forward to the opportunity of having our own to be able to have like a mothership of operations. So this is real life pictures of me and Faith. That is me with the cotton candy machine on my lap, and then inside of that is a crock pot. So I don't know if you can see that, but we loaded, that's the Trailblazer. and I think it's on its second life. I don't know how many staff have been assigned that car, but it is now ours, and we love her. This is literally every week. So when I look at my calendar, I have 49 days that I'm moving materials around. I was given the opportunity to have a trailer, and it oftentimes looks like that. That is at Goblins on the Green. We had like 300 people show up. We ran out of cotton candy. It was a wonderful problem to have, but we had lots and lots of people and not quite enough cotton candy for everybody. So we pull up in a trailer, we unload, we make our magic happen. It looks seamless, we think, from the outside, but it takes a lot of effort and energy to pull that off. That's every Friday. Bill comes to some of these. We have yoga for you and then bingo. We don't have bingo every Friday, but yoga we set up every Friday. We put tables down, we put the chairs down, we put the mats down. It's the community room at the fire station. Anytime we run bingo, again, fire station, we have to set everything up. We bring our own tables. Actually, the Trailblazer latch broke and all the tables fell out the back on Issaquina going up the hill. They all slid out the car. I was by myself, had to pick them up, run them up the road. No citizens helped me. I was very sweaty, but I made it. And then the latch, and then I didn't have the Trailblazer for a week, so that was fun. Anyways, this is our office. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that, but there's 2 desks in there. Faith is in one part of my L, so we didn't have really any furniture budget when we had a new staff come in. So I ripped my desk apart and we made a desk for Faith. So we both share the same office, so I'm sure she'll be out sick one day this week because we're right next to each other. And then that is our storage for camp. That is half of it. I don't know if your children have come to camp, a lot of you know how much effort goes into camp. We literally move in half the school in terms of equipment. So we don't use the school's equipment. They are very clear about that. No balls, no nothing. So we bring all of our own stuff. So investing in a space for us would mean I could have my own office. As much as I love Faith, it would be great to be able to separate our spaces. We would have a place to store our stuff, and I'm going to show you in a second. This is actually part of our storage. It's super yummy. There is mice that live in our tower. That's mice droppings. And then we also had vandalization in there. So we had some lovely people come in and take our fire extinguisher and spray it all over my camp supplies. So before I can use everything, I have to then wipe everything down. So not only do we move our things every summer, now I have to wipe everything down. And guess what? We don't have movers. The mover is me and my husband and my children, and now Faith and John Luke. So we have to move all that stuff with us. So mice infestation in there, and I promise you, it's been 7 years since I've been in that tower. We've tried to get the mice out. Nettles Park is beautiful, and it's a great environment for mice. And like I said, no permanent location for our things, and we've really outgrown our space. So that's one of our main safety concerns here. And I know I am being recorded. So we have senior bingo in the community room space, all right? The little plaque on the wall, I'm not gonna do the math, says 99 standing. So if you know anything about things, like fire things, if you look at the math, we had 72 people in there with tables. So really, we need a larger space. I'm not gonna say it out loud, but you can do the math there. Senior luncheon, we have 95. I've tried 1 year to squeeze them in, and we literally, y'all, had the violins like on the wall like this. So we are renting a space at Best Western to do our senior luncheon. And then we've had to drop 3 rows for yoga in our space. We're literally outgrowing everything that we do, which is wonderful. It's a great problem to have. There used to be a community space here at City Hall that was downstairs that would accommodate much more people, but it's been turned into engineering offices, so I no longer have access to that. And then I want to just reiterate that I love new ideas. That's why I do this. I love the community to come to me and say, hey, I would love to see this, I would love to do that. And so these are just a plethora of ideas that I've wanted to do that are on a piece of paper that if you have the energy, the people, and the place, you can do them. So things like parent and little classes, like tumbling for little babies, Mama and Me Fitness, Tai Chi, offering lunch and learns for seniors. We already do 2, but I have to organize the space. Coffee and cards I've wanted to do, where we can play bridge with the seniors and really promote socialization and wellness. Okay, this is the big one, youth development programs and events. We love the school. The school's a great partner. RC Edwards was awesome when we had to pivot and go over there. They were great. But it is very difficult to come in during out of school days. So coming up at Thanksgiving, the 20th through the 24th, parents don't have anywhere to put their kids. I would love to have a space to be able to provide out of school days for kids. Game day childcare, another thing I want to do. To be able to have, like, drop your kids off, like a drop and shop during the football game. I think that's where I got sick, so I won't be going anymore. No, I'm just kidding. After school care, we would love to expand on that. They've maxed out at the rec center. So Meredith has as many kids as she can possibly have. We'd love to do that. Now, teens, Bill, you'll love this. Teen nights, specialty clubs for teens, like reading club, untraditional sports club, like pickleball, spike ball, frisbee, disc golf, goggle ball. We don't really have anything like that right now for teens. And also teen excursion groups. So where we take a group, they go do jelly ball, which is the jelly thing. Ropes course, laser tag, disc golf, and we would take like groups with kids. So those are some ideas we've had. And then we want to expand on our adults with special need programming. We do Yoga for You right now, which is an immersive yoga program, but we would love to partner with people like Clemson Education or SWU and do more things with individuals with special needs. I have a volunteer who's been with me. I've known him since he was like in 2nd grade, and he's volunteered up until now. And he's an adult. He has nothing to do. He's 22 and he tries to find experiences, and it would be great to be able to provide like a kickball league, basketball league, game night, excursions, things like that. My clothes are falling off, I'm so sorry. But we would love to do that. Senior citizen programs, I've been wanting to do a prom. I asked the rec center, they were against the prom for some reason because of the fluorine or something, so I would love a space to do a prom. Would love to do tailgates in there for senior citizens to come to a multi-purpose space and have tailgates. So plethora of ideas, trail projects. So on the master plan, number 9, it was number 9, I don't know if y'all remember, on the master plan, but up there would be the outdoor event center eventually, and then connection to the trails. And so that would provide passive recreation. I want to do like trail rides during Halloween with like a, hay ride and like people jumping out of the woods, that kind of stuff. Endless ideas. I worked over at Saluda Shoals for a little bit before I came to college over here, and they did horseback riding and equine therapy at their parks. That's something that we could do on the trails. I would love to do a s'more night with Santa and have like the big, anyways, endless ideas. Outdoor theater productions, community talent show, pop-up food truck nights with live music down at an amphitheater. So I'm really excited and have lots of things that I could do if I were to have a space, and not feel like I'm always arm wrestling people for time in different locations. So, more pictures for inspiration. So help us serve Clemson residents and neighbors with a permanent building that would provide safe and scalable multi-purpose recreation opportunities to benefit generations to come. I'll come down now for questions. Are there any questions? Horrible idea, right?
I have actually a really weird random question. Like, I think, Joan, in yours, you said that Clemson would be 14,250. Is that an addition of 14,000, or is that the estimated total population in about 10 years?
That was the total that they, for over the next 10 years, that the utilities study, I believe it was, estimated. Impact fees.
That it would be totally at 14,000 or 14,000 additional?
Additional.
Okay. It just
sorry.
changes, One is one number and one is another. So, okay. Great. So I have another question, if I can. So right now, the Child Development Center is using that space as cafeteria, but if the Arts Center can move out and Parks and Rec doesn't have to use that space too, would the Child Development Center would still be there?
Yes.
So you would still have that conflict?
But we would have more space to work with.
Right, it'd just be less.
Exactly.
Yes. So is it an option, the way you presented this is basically Arts Center stays, everybody, no, I'm sorry, CAM stays, that's what I meant to say. I'm looking right at you and I said Arts Center, oh, sorry. But CAM stays, Child Development Center stays, everybody else goes. What if, is it feasible to flip it? Where maybe Child Development Center stays and maybe Arts Center stays and CAM goes somewhere else? And could you give me insight into why this is the preferred recommendation over the other one?
Well, I think Joan did an excellent idea of pointing out what her needs are for the Art Center to be able to accommodate the new growth and all the programs that she needs to be able to handle. If she stayed in that space, I just have 425 square feet. That would not
Right,
function.
so the marginal benefit to her would be low, and it would, then you
Wouldn't
still
be any
define it.
benefit at all.
Right.
Well, and I think the connectivity to the part, like the program side, will also benefit her when it comes to summer camp. Because we merged our summer camps kind of together.
Yeah,
And we
yeah,
worked together. So having them in the same campus would be helpful so that we could do like Roundtree together and have that whole sense of camp and camaraderie also with the shared space.
The issue with this space also is a lot of the things that we currently do, there's issues with ventilation and just some safety issues with the building.
Like retrofitting the building to make it
Yeah.
as safe as it needs to
Yeah,
be.
it needs to be updated.
And she has
It would need a lot of work if we stayed.
Right. And even the one picture that she showed for the glass blowing and for the kilns, if I'm saying it correctly, there's not enough space to accommodate that either.
Right.
And that's a very popular program. I've actually enjoyed doing pottery, and I understand the challenges that are there because
Sure.
of that.
She can actually look out her museum window and see somebody leaning over into the into the kiln. You know.
I have more questions, but I will defer for a moment.
Well,
So it will be interrogation by Mary Beth.
Well, if I can, I guess, keep going then. So will that be enough space for what you've got planned over the next 10 years, if that's what we're projecting out to?
When we're talking about the museum.
The museum.
That is a very interesting question, and if we continue to grow the way we are, at some point we might max out. But the good thing is, when we talk about the Black Heritage Trail, it's outdoors. So that's a good thing, because we're utilizing all the space that's around us, not just inside the building, but outside as well. Only time will tell, but I know for a fact when we talk about the oral history collection, we need specific rooms to do these recordings. We need a space to transcribe, even pre-interviews. And then the final product of the oral history project is to be able to have those resources available for the community to come and use. Where's that going to be housed? How will they access it? So those are some of the things that we're hoping that additional space will give us, but I don't know if that's going to be the end-all and be-all, because that's just one aspect. We talk about exhibitions as well. We talk about community rooms where we could have different events. For instance, when the child development is using that space, we've been struggling or working with trying to find the sweet spot of having people come into the space. I've always gone to evening times and weekend times because I'm thinking, most people are working and they have children and all kinds of activities. But then when we think about the older population, they don't want to be out at night. So we've started doing, like for the pop-up exhibition, we did 3 to 5, very popular time. But we have to wait till the Child Development Center is out of that space, move everything into place. And it's a challenge. So again, with the Art Center gone, hopefully we'll have another space that we could use in the daytime to attract those people who want to come during the earlier hours. And in the evening time, we can go back to where the shared auditorium, lunchroom, auditorium, whatever you want to call it. So those are some of the things that we're envisioning, but I don't know until we get to that point. Right now, 425 square feet in a hallway is just not it.
I guess it's, anything is better, right? But, just sort of thinking ahead and
Yes.
making sure that this has a reasonably lasting impact, and it's
Right.
not going to be 5 years from now, and we're like, well, we should have.
Right. And I believe that's part of the study as well. It's not only looking at building a new building on the hill, as they say, but also looking at our space and accessing or looking at our needs and trying to figure out what's the best way to do it and see what we can do. Do we need to do an attachment to it or go up? I mean, I don't know, but whoever is selected, they will also be looking at our space as well. It's not just move the art center out and, oh, well, there you are, but it will be a comprehensive study.
So I really like the idea of expanding programs and populations beyond what we're doing now. That's great. But, so let's talk the reality. What's the cost of this? Where's the money coming from? Once it builds, what's the budget to maintain it? I can tell you, so I was involved with Ollie from the beginning. And Ollie was ecstatic when we got a new building. Mike Cheesem donated that building at Patrick. It was incredible of him to do that. That's one expensive building to maintain, right? I mean, it's heating and lighting and replacing the air conditioning and lining the parking lots and maintaining the land and making sure things are safe and people are in there, and the buildings cost a whole lot of money. So in addition to money, where the money comes from to do it, where does the money come from to maintain it? Is there something we won't be able to do because we're doing this? Are there other partners that are not the city that could be part of this? Just sort of look, and the size of the building. That's something with Ollie, we learned very quickly. We outgrew it. Within a year or two, we just outgrew it. So tell about the size. You're projecting 14,000 more people, which my guess would be in 2030 or 2035. The building probably is not going to be as big as it needs to be. But just some of the realities of cost. Who's paying not just for the building, but honestly, probably more importantly, is as it ages and as the expenses go up. Just a little bit, and are there other potential sponsors? I mean, I love the notion of, beyond sports, arts and music and fine arts and cultural arts that I don't think we've done enough of, and introducing lots of people to programs that probably haven't been doing our traditional ones. That's magnificent. This is overdue. But there's the reality, right? So, and Jay, you might want to chip in too, not just this building, but even 5 or 10 or 15 years. What maintains it? What's the cost going to be to do this? And where does it come from?
I could probably answer that more. Right now, I have a plan that's a $5 million plan. I don't know if that's enough, because the first step would be to hire an architect to kind of do a space needs analysis and a program study. And they're going to take the growth factors the programs are going to offer, and they're going to determine how much space is needed and what this new facility is going to look like. Plus, they're going to look at Angela's programs. They're going to say what's going to be needed to renovate the current art center space, because the Child Development Center is going to stay there, but we're going to separate it off so that you no longer have those user conflicts. That's part of the renovation. So right now, I have no debt in the plan. It's all pay-go and cash reserves to get to $5 million, and I do have through 2025 annual allocations from hospitality tax, fee, and accommodations tax. And then maintenance and operation, it's just, they're going to be getting more registrations, getting more program revenue, so that's going to help offset operating costs. Much like how Lindsay does with summer camp, they do more and more programs, but the fees cover the additional expenses. And it may be that we have to subsidize out of some of those funds if we need to continue operating it. But the good news is we don't have to buy the land. So everything we invest in this is going to go straight into the facility. And we'll know a lot more specifics after the space needs work is done. And who knows, maybe a small borrowing out of those appropriate fees that match the use might be necessary in the end, I don't know. But right now we're up to $5 million, and I'm guessing with a facility and a renovation the size of what's needed there, that's probably going to go pretty quickly.
if this happened, how long, what kind of time frame would you have?
Probably 2026, considering my funding plan, because I need a couple of years future revenues to get me there.
Does the city have any long-term rentals on buildings instead of doing the construction? Do we have long-term rentals or like that we rent a building instead of
Not right
buy
now.
and build a building?
Not right now, we don't.
Is there a reason that we don't, or is that an option?
Probably for something like this, there just isn't a space to rent, I don't think. I mean, you're looking at pretty unique stuff, and if we did rent it, we'd probably be on the hook for upfitting it and getting it set up to do the programs, which would be the other expense, which we wouldn't get. The return that would stay with the building.
This,
Typically.
But in another 30 years, we're gonna do another renovation, so,
Yeah, 30 years, that might be true.
I do know that before the Art Center became a department of the city, we were looking for a new space because we were starting to grow out. And as soon as you tell a landlord, we have kilns that go up to, 14 or 4,000 degrees for 24 hours. No. Does somebody stay with them? No. So that's an issue. That's a big issue.
I know this is, we have the Nettles master plan, which this fits somewhat into that master plan, and I'm sure Austin is aware of the Nettles plan, and with the new plan that's coming up from the Parks and Rec, this will all fit in together. So I'm assuming that's all been thought through and will be handled, because this is somewhat part of the Nettles plan, and then the new master plan will also fit around this with his knowledge of all this is going on. I'm sure we'll tell him, but that's.
that was my question, how the timing works, because I feel like when we did the Nettles master plan, we put the cart before the horse without having the parks master plan. And we did this big study, paid for the Nettles Park project, got all kinds of community input, and now we're like, oh, let's go back, and because we're doing the parks master plan now, so people are kind of confused, some people that I've talked to, but we've already done this. I'm like, no, this is the whole parks master plan. So it seems like, are these parallel? Is this following the parks master plan? Are they at the same time? Are they related?
I think the need for new space, these programs are paralyzed, or they've reached their potential. I mean, she has zero space of her own, and she's doing a whole lot. So plan or no plan, that remains that they've outgrown their space, and I'm gonna have to do something so that they can expand and grow their programs and meet the demand and not have waiting lists and get people in the clay studio. But it does fit in with the Nettles plan in that there was a facility envisioned out there. And out of efficiencies, we were thinking, well, maybe that facility, instead of just being like an outdoor event space, it can be this and do so much more, is our thinking. And then, yeah, we are having Austin chime in on this stuff too.
Yes.
But right now, I mean, we just need to really find out, and all we're talking about tonight is, okay, we've got some money we've been saving. We've got a plan that's going to get us out a couple more years. We need to find out more specifically what our actual needs are. What is that building going to look like? How big is it? How small is it? Look at all the options. Heck, after that study's done, maybe it's not out there. I don't know.
Is it for the idea to have to have the art center and the rec in the programming in one space? Is there a reason for that? Because is there a reason to other than collaborating on camps, is there a reason to have two big city amenities in one place? Like the art center and rec here with a public, event space. Does it make sense? Is there an idea to have it in another area of the city to bring more, if we have it somewhere else, that it's gonna bring more business to the businesses that are near there instead of putting it all in one place?
I mean, right now, what we were envisioning was a building that would be segregated but could be commonly used used at the same time to where they're not stepping over each other's feet. It's land we already own. The city does own land in other areas, but I
And
don't know
one
if
of
it's
the
appropriate of a fit, but
one of the location perks is that it isn't in a main business area. When you're, especially for me, working with children, the types of programs that I run, accessibility is not always a positive thing when it comes to being in with other businesses. You want a space that's secluded for your campers and for your families, because most people come to the programs. You know, they don't just drop in. Does that make sense?
But like the Arts Center, for example, what about the Arts Center?
We don't really have, people come for the programming. We don't really have drop-in people who will pop in off the street or off, you know, to come. They come because of the programming. And our programs are doing so much together now that then one of us is going to have to travel with something. So it just made sense to put us together.
Also, I see the parking lot would be shared. It would be just basically one parking lot you'd have to build. And you could build it 1.5 times big or whatever the case may be, but it's only one parking lot for one set of facility of the utilities go into it, be one instead of having to build two. So over the years, the last couple of years, all three of these programs, in my vision, have grown tremendously from what I didn't hardly know anything about the arts or any of this. And Lindsay's has grown. The arts, I see your webpage come up, and both of you have just grown tremendously over these past, even 2 years, maybe 3 years from what I've been knowledge. So I think it's, you know, y'all definitely deserve a place. You know, everybody deserves a place to have it. And I think personally, I think it's a great idea. I think it's something that the city could definitely benefit from. Yeah, down the line, it's going to grow again, so we have to worry about that. We can't worry about that down the line now. We got to take care of what we can now. And y'all, and I'm sure when we start bringing in a consultant type person, we'll talk about all this stuff, and he'll help with the plans and the cost and all the facilities that will be done with that. I'm sure the city, Andy, and all will do that type of thing. You ladies will be involved with that development. So,
And during our planning, they also mentioned naming rights for the building, so we'd be able to bring in hopefully some funding that way, like you were alluding to sponsorships or partnerships, those types of things.
So I have a question, going back to this idea of the shared parking lot. When we did the Nettles Park Master Plan, at least, that initial cost in phase 1 was like $3 or $4 million, and that was for grading, running roads, utilities, parking lots. That was just the basic development to get up to that hill. So I'm sure that $3 million is not in your $5 million, right?
no, that would
So where is that
well, some
coming
of it's
from?
going to be done, a leg of it's going to be done with the pickleball courts. Because we're going to have a road, new parking, and a path going in from that side. So there's going to be some cash flow involved in this. A lot of the money up front is going to be going to the new facility. And then once that's there, I'm going to be looking at renovating CAM. So right now, what we've got is $5 million to do a building and infrastructure, which the infrastructure is going to be significant. So that's what I can do with cash between now and the next couple of years. But there may be a borrowing in there to get us over the hump.
Well, I mean, and that's all I'm curious about, because like I said, I seem to remember that number being around $3 million for just site prep, right? And that's a massive chunk of, and I understand, I mean, some of that is done, and maybe some of that site prep was truly grading for fields and so forth that we wouldn't need. But what are the grading and utility needs? I mean,
And a lot of that too could be, I mean, it may not be a paved parking lot right at first. It might be curb and gravel that we come in and pave later. There's a lot of different options that, you know, professionals can help lay out for us that might get us there.
And so the other question I had was the space needs assessment, right, that's going to come first. Can Austin incorporate that into what he's already doing? And no? Okay. And so what sort of cost are we talking about to get somebody in to figure that out?
That piece of the work actually isn't very expensive. Probably the least expensive part of it. It's just sitting down with them and they facilitate a discussion and they come up and they just basically block out a building. That's all it looks like. So, I mean, 20 grand.
So I think you've done a great job of establishing the why, the need. I think I still have a problem with the how. I also have no idea, Andy, tell me, where are 14,000 new people going to live in the city of Clemson? I can't
Well, over
imagine.
10 years, yeah, I said over 10 years, you're looking at that amount of people moving in. But if the remainder of the Grange comes into play, I mean, you're looking at probably 2,200 more homes out there.
And maybe Packlet Milliken. I don't know.
Packlet Milliken, that's right.
Which actually gives me a different thought. This gets back to the how, right? Maybe there are more other creative ways to also do this. Packlet Milliken, maybe they would say, we'll build this on our site or part of this on our site because we want to be part of the community. They've already talked about all kinds of great ideas. So I think, and I know you're not asking us to approve this tonight, so obviously we're not going to do that, but maybe there are other ways also to help pay for this thing. The residents are going to ask us, well, what are we doing without, because we're doing with this? You know, is there anything we're not going to be doing? The pickleball people are going to be up in arms because pickleball is not part of the plan. So I think that's sort of the how. I have no doubt about the need for it. I mean, all of you have established that. But I think the next step is the sort of how do we do this in a way that's fair to everybody in the city, meets the need, is not a burden forever, doesn't mean we do without other things. I love the idea of event space, for instance, but maybe that needs to be at the Abernathy Park, maybe not here, I don't know. So I think those kind of questions are the ones that, you know, Bob Brookler was going to ask you those questions, certainly, that people also will ask us is the how. I think the why nailed it. The how, that's a bridge way out there to get over, I think. Right?
And because of the increase in population, you'll notice on our impact fee study, the recreation impact fee was by far the one that went up the most. It's like $2,300. So we're going to generate a significant amount of money with that growth. That's going to be spent on recreation facilities and parkland development, which is going to be a huge piece of this.
Another thing is their programs they're offering are growing from the people who are already here because they're getting more well-known. And so you're getting more people involved just from the population that's already here. So that's going to grow as well as those new developments that are coming into play. So you've got a lot of not just the new developments, but the old folks are knowing what's here and they're starting to say, hey, I want to go do that. I want to go do that.
And once you have that space analysis, that allows me to go to Packlet Milliken and say, here's what I'm looking for. It allows me to have a more productive conversation and see more possibilities.
Yeah, so I think that's like, we need the assessment for space. That's what I was exactly thinking through, so that we can figure out where the right place are all those things. But how many square feet do we need? What kind of building, what kind of rooms do we need, and those types of things.
And they may say, this concept is flawed. I can't combine these spaces.
Right.
I think I would be looking for like synergy. Like I like the idea of like Packlet Milliken or something like that. I know we already have the land that's by Nettles Park, and you all know what my inclinations are. Like this could be so awesome connected with an natatorium or an aquatic center, because then you could have people at the day camp doing swim lessons like right there. You could really synergize that if you add it in with like mountain biking and just other things that could be co-located. Like I think think bigger, but I have my biases, so that's I'm being very explicit about my biases. But it would be a shame if there's like, oh man, we could have, and we just didn't think of it quite yet. So I'm kind of looking forward to the master plan and seeing how this fits into the master plan, knowing that it's a need that's really well established, but how does it fit into the big plan?
Yeah, we're at the very beginning.
Yeah, it's the very beginning.
Yeah. The parks master plan will be completed before we begin on this, anyway.
So this park master plan is 8 more months or 6 more months? So this study wouldn't be done for another 6 months?
Well, thing is, the study on a new building, we don't have to decide right now where we gonna put this. We just, wherever we have our building, that will be included in the master plan. Where is the best available site will be included before we decide exactly where we're gonna put it.
I think you can do a space and program analysis at the same time, and then that would actually help Austin,
Yes. So,
because you want your park uses to be complementary and to be within context of a system.
That's the point of the parks plan, right?
Right, yeah,
That's
yeah.
why we're doing this.
that's right.
I think this is just a more critical point, like wait on the plan, but this needs to be in motion
Right.
next to the plan, or we will, instead of dreaming what we could have done, we'll be like, why did we wait so long? Because now we've
Right.
hurt ourselves in our programming because we didn't expand to keep up with.
Right, Michael, yeah.
And it does also sound a little bit like CAM has more pressing immediate needs as opposed to 5 years, if I understood what you're saying, 5 years down the road or whatever. Is there a way to address that, or does that have to wait until all this is done?
Well, right now, CAM is pretty much linked to that facility by history. That facility is Black history in Clemson, which is why the vision is for it to remain there. Angela is working very hard right now on an IMLS grant, which is the Oral History Project and the Black Heritage Trail. Neither of those necessarily need exhibit space, but she needs research space, she needs interview space. I can find that. I can provide, it's not ideal. I mean, right now her office is across the hall from me and her staff is across town. And I think a lot of what she's going to uncover in these other projects, as I speak for you, is probably going to inform how that space is going to be used.
Definitely. And one of the challenges also is because it's local history, we're dealing with the community in Pickens County. And they know that facility. Many of that neighborhood used to be a Black community. So people are very familiar with that space and they're now venturing back to that space. If we relocated from there, it's just gonna destroy that trust and everything else that we've been building over the years. So that's one of the reasons why it's essential that we're still there in that space. And as many of you know, the Black Heritage Trail, $3.4 million, and we're part of that. We're one of 3 institutions that are involved with the Black Heritage Trail, and it's because of the location. It's because of the history that's there. That's one of the main reasons why we got that grant. So if we try to move ourselves from that, we'll be destroying everything that people have been building up and understanding us to be. And I truly believe that the federal grant, the Oral History Project that we got, that's $100,000 because we had the Mellon Foundation and because what we do as an institution. They're like, oh, that sounds great. That's a great idea. Here's the money to collect that oral history. So it all works together. And yes, right now, because of the spacing and the staff issue, the two people that we have working for the oral history project, in just trying to do research, it's difficult because they're, like I said, they're in this space. Mr. Kemp witnesses this because he volunteers. He's got to get up too when people are coming in that space because it's only but so big and you can't have people just sitting there doing work, you know. But we've come up with a lot of great ideas and there are so many people that we immediately need to interview. They're in their upper 80s and they have a wealth of knowledge. And right now I'm racking my brain, where do we do this interview? You know, for the most part, their homes might not be the best place. I don't know what the ambiance is like. And we're trying to carve out a space and try to get these people right away. I mean, God forbid I could die tomorrow, but just in the scheme of things, they can go at any moment, you know, so we, and a lot of them are in their full right mind, as we say, and they can give us a lot of information that once they're gone, we'll never have that information again. So we feel that at least with the Oral History Project, it is a race against time. There's so many different elements that we're trying to get in place to get those narratives, because that is also going to help us inform the Black Heritage Trail. What are the historical signage that's going to be there? What are we going to talk about Pickens County and the stories? So, I mean, I understand the studies and the master plans and stuff, but our need is really critical because we have these grants that we have to fulfill. And, you know, I'm not sure how we're going to accomplish that in as effectively and efficiently as we can.
Are there public, I know there are public shared meeting spaces. Can the city rent, I think there's, I don't know if there are podcasting studios in Clemson, but I know there's co-working spaces. Can the city rent office space, or does Imagine Center, I think they have a recording studio at Imagine Center, I think. The university has some facilities that are available. Can the city rent a space and you can put together a recording studio for less than $10,000?
I was going to turn an office into a studio.
Yeah, you can do that, or
That would be
to
available.
address
You
the
wouldn't need
immediate
permission to
needs.
use, just whenever, because people don't always talk on schedule.
Right, and that's part of the issue too. We have looked at Clemson University, the libraries in particular, and we've been discussing with them how we could use their space. But again, we have to think about the community that we're talking about. We have parking issues on campus. We have elderly people that just a thought about going on a campus just is like, no way, we're not doing that.
Would that issue be the same if it was at City Hall?
I think also, and forgive me for saying it like this, it's an issue of trust. Do they come to City Hall right now? So will they come for an oral history project? Probably not. So those are some of the elements that I'm looking at. One of the other things that we ran across in terms of trying to negotiate, the libraries have what's called go bags that you could use for oral history projects, because they're trying to figure out a way to loan it to institutions. They know how to loan it to students and to faculty because they have a way to track it. But as the city, they haven't been able to figure that out yet, and we've been in discussions with them about that now for, I'd say since July or so, July, August. So it's not like we're not looking at different avenues, there are so many different challenges and barriers that we're coming across. And like I said, time is of the essence, you know.
I have an idea of a place we could convert into a studio or a place just for people to talk. I'll speak more specifically with you, but I'll give you ahead, people will feel at home there. Okay.
Yes.
And the CC, the Clemson Child Development Center, they lease from the city
They
for
do.
that space.
And they're going nowhere. They just invested $500,000 into that building. Renovated their space completely.
And it looks wonderful. They did an excellent job.
Any other further questions for people?
Are we doing something today? Is it advisory?
We're just getting on your radar and asking you your recommendation later.
Do we make a motion that this is taken to city council? Do we need that?
You were the first group that actually saw this presentation, okay? Because Andy contacted city council and told them that it was coming out, so.
I would suggest you smoke on this information for a little while and digest it and maybe take action the next time you meet to make a recommendation. You can feel comfortable with what you're actually recommending.
Well, we're still waiting. Been through this before. Right, Freddie?
I was going to say, this is deja vu all over again. I remember sitting with Robert, and that's why my question really was not suggesting you move, but finding other ways to move along, because that was, Robert, 4 years ago? 4 years ago, I think, 5 years ago?
Yeah,
I'm not sure what it was. And so these ideas I know are linked together, but I think there are also unique needs for each of you that have more immediate, pressing needs that we may need to look creatively at other solutions, but I understand, I really do. I don't know, I mean, Andy, you just gave a few good ideas, I think, but I have no idea. But if you wait for this to get done, it'll be probably 3 city councils from now, and who knows what else. But again, fantastic idea. I like the idea of more different kinds of activities and people, but that's the future. And I think that what I heard from all of you actually tonight, there's also present that we can't wait 5 years, right?
Like, even if this went as fast as possible, it wouldn't help you next month with an interview.
Right.
Right,
So our next meeting is after the first of the year,
yeah.
a whole year.
Our next, I understand our next meeting isn't until the new year, so I don't do, is that adequate? I mean, the timing right, or should we move quicker as a movement on it? We don't meet again until the new year.
So you don't meet in December at all?
No, sir.
No.
February,
February.
that's the next one.
That is a little longer than I think we'd like to wait for a recommendation. But I understand you probably aren't in a position to do that tonight, so I don't know if you can do a special called meeting between now and January.
You could do that. Sure.
So do you want to wait till that long, till then, or you want us to?
February, I think maybe if you guys want to take time, you can do it tonight if you want, but I'm just saying, you just heard a lot of information. If you feel like you need more time, I would just recommend a special called meeting.
What is the recommendation, sorry?
Exactly
Yeah,
what
like,
I
what
was
is the
gonna ask.
recommendation we're considering? Because if it's for the space needs analysis,
That's it.
I mean, I think we're all pretty on the same page that needs to be done. I don't know where the building needs to be located, or, I mean, like, those are all
But we
viable
need the needs
concerns, but
assessment.
That's
like you said, you've gotta have that to start
That's
having
the
this
starting
conversation.
point, so we can talk about all these other things.
That's what we need. Is the,
I would like to make a recommendation that we as a committee move forward to allow the city to do whatever they need to do next as soon as possible. I don't know if that's the right wording on that, but I'd like for us to do, if we are going to agree to let them move forward, or that we're in agreement that this is needed, and for them to move forward on it is with a lot of stuff they have to figure out. I mean, there's a lot there, but to move forward on this recommendation, this proposal.
But the recommendation would be for the space needs analysis.
Yes.
Not for, let's build a building.
Yes.
Right. I think it's pretty evident, something needs to happen, but let's build a building feels,
Let's build a building feels like too much. But like
Right.
space needs assessment of like, yeah,
Yeah.
we need that.
Yeah, we need to move forward on this proposal.
Well, then here we go. I make a motion that we recommend, right, for a space needs assessment.
Do I hear motion that we do that? I mean,
she made it. I second.
second.
Same way tonight.
Everybody, did you hear the motion? Everybody good?
Just let me ask one, right?
Then,
Let me ask one.
all in favor of that motion?
Wait, he has a question. Fran has a question.
I'm sorry, Dan.
But Andy, I thought that already was happening.
No.
There's no space, so what
We have none of that.
Austin's
nothing's-
doing and no one is doing the space needs?
No.
Because Austin's work is even higher level than that.
Okay.
Yes.
Any more discussion on that? All in favor of that motion, signify by saying aye, and raise your hand, please.
Aye.
That motion carries then. So, we'll move forward on it.
Okay. We'll put a agenda item on council's agenda saying that, who's the chairman of this committee? You, right there, in the chairman's seat. You'll speak on behalf of the committee saying that we recommended you conduct a space analysis for this concept.
We can do that. Somebody, we volunteer.
Someone will be there.
Someone from the committee is always.
Do that.
So if we're going to do that, I'm anticipating that we'll get questions from city council, we've done the tour. And here's some of the things they'll ask that maybe we need to talk about. Who's doing that space analysis?
We'll have to put out a bid.
So
And we'll
again,
have
now
a
we're
little
talking-
committee to find out who we're comfortable with
So
working with.
consultant cost thing, is it just related to these three programs? So I think city council is going to want us to be a little more specific than just that. How much, Andy, how much would this cost? Do you have any idea?
Less than $50,000.
$50,000 is going to get people's attention in the city, many who were already concerned about over-consulting.
I think it's in the 20s, but I haven't bid one of these in a couple of years.
So do we have a limit from our perspective though? And so when the person who sits there, who I won't name, says, who's paying, how much, how we doing it, do we have any sense of limits that we set, or we're just open to, we recommend they do it?
You have 1.7 available.
No, I meant for the space analysis.
Oh, that would come out of that 1.7 million.
So you have a budget surplus.
Right. Well, reserves, what we have set aside for the project.
I think I'm
Council never removed the project from the budget, which is why it's still there.
I think I'm comfortable, right, just whatever, I mean, if that's the ballpark, that's the ballpark, and I think it's fine. But certainly when you all make your pitch to council, right, these are some pretty valid points that to just consider, because it's true, you've got the need here, and there's no doubt about it, but it's just some of the other logistical things that, just something to prep for.
Of course, we probably have some of you serve on that selection committee too. As we interviewed firms.
Is that a satisfactory answer?
Well, honestly, I'm sitting here thinking, yes, but, and we'll get to know him, but yes, but. Some people say it's but with two T's. But, I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, if it's 50,000, there's a pressing need that $50,000 might address right now that's more important than the space need. I think we've established the need for it. So I'm just concerned, this is the same question I always ask, right? That's great, but what does that mean we're not doing? And is that thing we're not doing more important than the thing we're paying money for? $50,000, I would guess any one of the three people who spoke tonight can get a lot of mileage out of $50,000.
I'll take care of her immediate needs. I don't have a choice. She has grant obligations and deadlines that have to be done.
Anyway, but those are my concerns, to be honest with you. That
Well, I think we know there's a cost, like, you're gonna put out a bid, any product's gonna have a price tag associated with it. So I mean, there's no way around spending the money to do it. It's just a matter of like the scope of the project will, because this might be smaller than that or bigger, but this space analysis would be smaller than some other space analysis that you probably had them run.
It's about the same size. About the same size as ones we've recently done. I've even bid this out before a few years ago. That's where I came up like $23,000, $25,000, somewhere in that ballpark. But this here's going to give you something to talk about. I mean, it may be one facility. They may say it won't work. We don't know.
Well, I was thinking when we propose this to council, that I'm proposing that you guys do the presentation for council. And then the council will ask y'all questions, not me questions. You know?
Need a
But I think it feels like what we're saying is,
work session with city council, I would think, by itself.
Probably not just to authorize the study, but eventually there's probably going to be several.
Yeah.
As you get into the more complex questions.
I mean, if you want to make this presentation to council, it would need
It probably, yes, I understand what you're saying.
A separate
That would probably be better done
work
as a work
session.
session.
Yes.
Yeah. You're right.
it feels like what we're saying is despite the Parks and Rec plan not being done yet, like it's in progress, like this is such a definite need
Yes.
that we're proposing accelerating, getting more data, is what it sounds like we're saying.
Right.
That's all. So it's a little bit out of sequence. Like, it would be better if the master plan was done, because then it would, kind of be all like baked in. Like, I like the idea of a whole plan, but it sounds like just for how long things take to get done,
Yes.
by the time you would do like a more specific needs assessment, then almost certainly the master plan is going to say, y'all need to do something about this. That's what it feels like. So I feel like asking council to authorize, I don't know exactly how, you ask them, you probably know better, probably, I guess, than me. Like authorize up to, I don't know, 30,000, 40,000 for a needs assessment, to give like that upper level. And then if you get bids and they're all 50,000, well then, sorry, you have to go back. But if they're like 20, well then great. I don't know, that's just what it feels like.
So I think from my council days, I just have consultant stress. I mean, we have so many studies and so many, here's my question. What are they going to tell us we don't know? We just heard why we do have a pressing space need. I'm sold. Now, I don't know how many square feet.
Right, I think that's what we didn't hear.
But Andy, do we need to hire an outside person to answer that?
We need to hire someone to help us design the facility needs that we have. We know what we need to do in the building, but what we don't know how to do is build a building that can accommodate that. And that's what this study is going to help us do. It's the first step in the architectural process.
So it's a feasibility study, really.
Essentially, a space needs feasibility study.
With a recommendation for potentially a different location than what y'all's are thinking? Because that starts to feel.
If what comes out of it doesn't
bigger.
fit the site, that's probably what they're going to say.
I mean, we had a motion, we passed it. Right. So I'm just saying. I mean, unless anyone's wanting to take it back, but.
It's moving forward. Moving forward, which I think is definitely a need for it to move forward. Now, how far, that's still be determined. Most definitely a need for it.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you all for a great presentation. Now, to move on quickly, we're going to go quickly through our departmental reports. Most of you, we should have received those and read through them. And so I'm going to go through if we have any questions for the people that are here, or they may have some comments of their own. They may have some comments of their own down here. Let's see, first off, my computer went down on me here, so. Tony, do you have anything from the urban area?
Nothing extra than I already gave you, so any questions?
Do you have a time for the tree planting event on December 9th?
Is that the Green Crescent? We'll have to check the trees upstate. I'm sure it'll be in the morning. That was what they did at the Downs.
Maybe, I'm sorry, in the morning?
It'll be in the morning.
I wanted to ask about the 12-mile fence design.
Yes.
I wanted to ask about it.
What would you like to know?
I would like to know, like, what does it look like? Could I see it, the design? Is it not that exciting?
It is.
It's exciting to me.
It's a site plan.
Okay.
Right now.
Okay.
We're having to get a variance because we can't put a fence over 4 feet within a right-of-way, DOT right-of-way. So it's going to go in front of the, is it BRZ? Is that the name of that? Board of Architectural Review?
Yes.
Yep, it's going to go in front of those folks for the variance.
Okay.
We're looking at a 6-foot fence with no bar across the top. No bar across the top, so it won't be easy to climb.
So chain link.
Chain link.
Chain link,
Black
but-
chain link fence, which would be, similar to all of our other fences in our parks.
Cool.
And at the beach, we would just have the gate would just, part would be welded onto the existing emergency gate.
So the emergency gate will stay there.
Yep.
Basically the same. Cool. Thank you.
And we'll build as much as we possibly can, and I think it's 10 feet increments. And we budgeted $20,000 this year for it.
Tell us briefly about the tree planting at the community at Clemson Park.
That is what Carrie was talking about. That's going to replace some of the trees that were lost from the Green Crescent Trail construction. We're looking at 35.
Is that down at the bottom where the woods
Yes.
go through, not up toward the field?
No. It'll be after you pass the detention pond. The detention pond will be on your right, and then there's a long straightaway before you come back out of the woods to frontage road. And most of the trees will be planted at the base of the detention pond, and then past the woods on the right, on the church side of the trail.
Yeah, I was confused on whether we're going along the field side, along the field, but it's down in the woods.
It'll be down in the woods where the trees were taken down.
Gotcha. Any other questions for Tony and Chris too, if he has anything?
I just wanted to add, I looked it up, so that planning on December 9th is 9 a.m.
Thanks, Chris.
I think anybody else have another plan on there? Well, thank you guys.
I wanted to say one thing about Friday, we had the ribbon cutting for the Green Crescent event. It was really exciting. There was no food, and we had like 50 people there.
With no food?
With no food, no drinks, and it was just a great turnout. We had all kinds of representation from the city and from the state and from the university. It was an exciting event.
Pretty good, yes. All right, Lindsay, any questions for Lindsay? And Faith, who's not here, but and Lindsay can answer. Any questions for her? She's not busy at all. She's not doing.
Volunteers for the Christmas parade.
We're pretty stocked, PRTM, but if you want to jump in, you can. I'll always find something for you to do. We have a golf cart this year, so I won't have to run the proud parade route twice. That'll be good. The police have 2 golf carts, so if you would like to help, Beta Club or National Honor Society, I forgot what Daniel calls it, I'm sorry, I don't feel good, but they do the hot cocoa and the cookies, and then we have PRTM help do the cones and all that, so I don't need extra hands, but if you would like to help, I would love to have you. Just let me know, email me. I'm sure you guys are in the system. No background check needed, we got you.
You haven't got close to people signing up.
Yeah, we already have 25 people signed up.
Already have 25, and you expect more.
Yeah, it'll probably be between 40 and 50. the safety videos out online. New route, I don't know if y'all saw that. We changed the route for visibility because Strode Circle's mayhem down there if you've ever had a kid participate. So we're gonna take a left on McHugh and go up towards First Baptist and Fort Hill, Prez, and then they'll get off on the sidewalks there. So we'll do some education in the next week on social media, online, telling people the change. But the video's already done, it's on the website.
Any other questions for Lindsay?
Oh, we're gonna make it snow downtown.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, we had a sponsor, so.
You gonna, is that just in one, is that just in one place along the whole route?
Two places,
Two
Bill,
places.
don't be, I can't tell them where, then everyone's gonna stand there.
Any other questions? Senior bingo is doing very well. It's full.
Yeah.
Very well. Any other questions? Lindsay, I like this, I think, are you the one that put this calendar out?
Yes, sir.
That's very good, and all the nice posters there. Good, all right, the next thing, athletics. Any questions about the athletics? Michelle, help answer those.
Let me speak right quick about our soccer that we just hosted last evening. I brought Carrie's a plaque of, she coached our 10 and under girls that won the district. Our 8 and under also won.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
The district. They go to Malden Saturday for the state tournament. So this was the second year that we've had a girls only.
I just want to say how many parents have come up to me and said, it is so nice that our girls can play together, because you just kind of get bumped to where you bump to the side physically, and so a lot of parents have asked me, please get a girls league, can we please get a girls league? And to see the camaraderie that happens with just the girls is really phenomenal. You've seen it in softball and in volleyball, so it's been really fun to work with the girls. I've coached the co-ed too, and so coaching the girls it's close to my heart, so it's been a lot of fun.
We have been pushing the girls only for 3 years, and we finally got our neighboring departments to agree to. We had a girls only league in the 8U. We started off small, and we're hoping to do it in 10U next year. So that's our goal, if we get any help from our other departments around here.
And I saw our volleyball did well also. I think somebody was involved, you involved in volleyball, I believe.
My
Yes.
daughter was.
And cross-country fishing up. And he's got the state soccer tournament coming up, first in December, correct?
The second,
Second, third.
third, yes,
Is that right? You got 8, 10, 12, and 15-year-olds all here?
yes. So we'll have 16 teams here that Saturday and Sunday playing. Yes.
And I assume basketball is growing strong as always?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to tell us briefly about the new scoreboards?
Yes. I included a picture of the new school board and field name signs. This will be funded through ATAX completely. So I, request ATAX funding and was approved. They've scoreboards up there are 15 years old, and they have the old city logo. So the branding will have the new logo up there.
Okay. Anything you want to add, Joan, back to what the questions for Joan on the Art Center? Any other people? She has covered a lot what she's already doing. Any other questions for Joan? She also has a lot coming up too, you know, Christmas season and all that, holiday season. And we got, I love Tommy's maintenance thing. Anybody have any? He details it out pretty good. Any questions, Jay, or for Jay?
Billy and Tommy are at a conference at the beach to get recertified with their pesticide license.
I was wondering what that was.
Yes.
That pesticide.
Yes.
But anything else about the maintenance? Questions about that? Angela, any more questions for Angela about the CAM? Any more questions? I think, again, she's told us a lot already. Any more questions about that from her? And let's see.
Lauren.
Yeah, I had forgot her. I see her sitting there. Laura wasn't able to say anything. Laura, you want to tell us about what's happening on your end?
I do. I have one thing I really would like to highlight with you guys. Okay. So, hi, I'm Lauren. So I am implementing a Passport to Clemson Holiday Edition program. So how this works is it will start right after the Thanksgiving holiday, just in time for the Christmas holiday shopping season. So it encourages customers to support local businesses during the holiday season. Now, how does this work? So I had reached out to the merchants on our merchant list, and they responded, yes, I'd like to be part of it. What do you need from me? So how it works is each participating location will have passports, branded stickers, and a window placard indicating their participation in the program. So customers will pick up a passport at any of these participating locations, and these locations are listed on a special page on the Visit Clemson website. And this web page is accessible by QR code on the back of each individual passport and on the window placard. So customers will receive one sticker when they make a purchase at any location, and it's one purchase only. You can't separate them into 3 different purchases to get 3 stickers. It's one purchase, one sticker. Customers must collect 5 stickers in order to receive a prize. Once they collect all 5 stickers, they will come to Clemson City Hall. They will ask for me, hand in their passport, and then I will give them their prize. So the prize is a Passport to Clemson Holiday Edition branded stainless steel tumbler with a metal straw and additional goodies such as stickers, candy. I had reached out to the participating merchants to see if they wanted to add any branded swag or anything in this prize package. The rules are listed inside the passport, such as 1 passport per person, 1 prize per person, while supplies last, 1 transaction, etc. January 12th, 2024 is the last day to turn in your passport to receive your prize. So this passport program is a soft launch, like the holiday edition is a soft launch of the passport program, and future implementation of this program for extended lengths of time depends on the success of this soft launch. So I'm really excited about that. This is something that I was a part of back home in Pittsburgh at my previous job, and it was very successful, and it was a lot of fun to be a part of. So I'm hoping that this community will enjoy it as much as I did. So any questions? No? Well, I hope y'all participate. You gotta tell me what you think. Thank you.
Any other questions? or anything, anybody? I think that's, if I'm correct, is that all the different departments, Jay? We covered all of them?
Yes, sir.
There's some nice, things, flyers listed from CAM about some of the free night stuff on here, very good. Okay, anybody have any any new business? I have a new business. I would, anybody else? I'd like to propose that we change our meeting to 4 times a year rather than 6. And we meet in February. We got our first one in February of the new year. And that's when the new people typically come on to the committee. Now, I know we have, I think, 2 openings coming up this year, but also heard through the grapevine that those 2 people have asked to be back on again. I don't know if anybody else decided to go step off, but I know those 2 people.
Who's rotating on? Or who?
Me and Peter.
Okay.
You and Peter. And I've heard that they were going to reapply, be back on, both of them. But we would have, so we'd meet in February, May, August, and November would be our 4 times, so a quarter. But we also have at least 2 called meetings that we know we're going to probably have to have. One for the budget. That's going to be probably a call meeting for budget. And I'm sure we're going to have another call meeting for, I'll call them workshops for the master plan a little bit later on in May. In the spring, a little bit in the spring. So that will still give us our 6 meetings again that we'd have to have, but those may fall in the same month or whatever the case may be. So that's what my proposal is, that we drop to 4 with knowledge that we may have to have some workshops called for special meetings for various things that come up. Like we could have had a workshop for this presentation tonight. See, that could have, rather than be part of our meeting, it could have been a workshop we had called. We were able to work it in, and I'm still good on time here from what. Good on time. Good on time. So does anybody have any comments or thoughts about that? Now, when we first started this committee, if you remember, we did meet 4 times a year. Carrie and I and Peter or the whole thing. Then we changed it for somewhere along the way to 6 times here every other month. And so now I propose that we go back to the quarterly with knowledge that we're going to have some workshops called during the year. And I know of 2 already that will be called somewhere in there, the budget workshop and the master plan workshop. I know those.
We meet on the 3rd Tuesday of the month.
Third Tuesday of the month.
Normally, but yeah.
The 3rd Tuesday of the month, and that was February, which is our first one for the year. May, August, and November. January, I typically, someone from the committee, chairman or someone that volunteers, gives a report to City Council. Is that correct?
Yes.
About what we did the year before, during the past year. So we give a brief, not have to be long, a brief report to City Council. I think every department does that. And so we do it in January. Somebody will do it in January. And then our first official meeting of the year is February. So any more discussion on that?
I was just going to comment on the reports to City Council. In the past, when I've done it or been a part of it, I don't know how it came out last year. I wasn't here, but in person. But usually we make 2 or 3. City Council, when I was the chair of the board, they asked for us to make 2 or 3 priority recommendations. And when I was the chair, we got a lot of good feedback that was very helpful. If we can focus our to give specific recommendations.
Yeah, like goals.
3 to 5 recommendations for City Council are things that we'd like them to focus their energy on, things that we see as a committee as a priority. And so in the past, a lot of times we've done this just online. Somebody's come up with a presentation and given feedback, so we don't have to have a meeting. But
yeah,
so 2 people will draft it usually, and then
people just send one of us, me, any thoughts they may have for me to report to city council. We sort of tell city council briefly the things that we talked about during the year, and then any things that we want to propose that we think they ought to start thinking about as far as the future for what, I guess you say goals or something like that. I remember that. I don't honestly, I have forgot what Lauren sent. Lauren did it last year. I don't exactly remember what, I was here, but I don't remember what she said. And,
Was on there.
what?
One of the three was a new position.
New position.
I remember mine. I don't remember the other two.
New position.
I didn't see the final draft.
So, and we were able to get, that one, so.
We've been able to accomplish most of the goals that we've set out, where a lot of them, priority on Clemson Park, getting a position, getting more help for became the urban land management, getting more help for maintaining the city parks. What else? Clemson Park. A lot of the recommendations we've had have gone. Doing the master plan has finally happened. That was a recommendation 3 years in a row.
Yes.
So they, from my experience, have taken into consideration.
I think one would obviously be the proposal that was put tonight would be that they consider that as something for the future that we will have already said it, but we just say that, yeah, yes, it's part of. It doesn't have to be a long talk, just a brief thing, because I know Jay will meet with, all the departments meet with the city council and go over their stuff they do again. So we just sort of a summary of what we did as a committee, you know. Anybody have any? So we'll be asking for suggestions from y'all about what to put in that report come in January. So be thinking. We'll just do that by emails to me, and Carrie will help me with that. I appreciate it. She does a good job with that, and I appreciate it. And let's see. No.
Me? Probably, yeah, I thought I was going to be on the hook for that. Yeah, I was just keeping my head down.
Mary Beth too, you know, and she would help in that. And anyone else that has anything, we love to have all these different. This, of course, one of the big things is that this is our first year of having all of us on one side. All the rest of them has just been Parks and Rec. Now we add our other 3 departments that we have reported that will also. I'll mention stuff about those to them also. I've been asked a couple of times by some councilmen how we've been working together on how the committee, now that it's been enlarged, how it's been working. And as far as I know, it's been working fine. I don't see any problems or anything, but I don't know how the rest of the people feel. But so be thinking about that. Sometimes in January we'll be making that announcement. Now, any other questions? Any other new business?
Bill, does city council have to approve our change of meetings?
No.
The scheduled meetings, so it's just up to
I
us?
reviewed the ordinances real quick.
Yeah.
The manual consultant.
I would. Jay saying, shaking his head no. So
good, okay.
Yeah. That's a
In
good,
fact,
that's a good
thank you for
question.
giving us a heads up, because it says in the ordinance that we would set the meeting schedule at that meeting.
Right.
But it's helpful to know when the first meeting's going to be.
Well,
That's sort of helpful to know.
I'll have to get with Sarah, who sets the calendar, and like, when she sets it, I will send out a calendar for the whole year.
So I guess do I need a motion to say we accept that proposal to go to quarterly, for quarterly, with the knowledge of workshops being thrown in there? So I want to make that.
I'll make that motion.
Make a motion that we could go to quarterly with knowledge of workshops for our meetings. Okay? And I already gave you the date, the year, the month, and days that Jay said.
Say tentatively the 20th of February.
Yeah, 12. Do I have a second for that motion?
Second.
Second. all in favor of us going to that, accept that? And aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
Oh.
Not too long.
All right. Any other new business?
Yeah. Can we talk about the Community Connection
Sure.
newsletter? It's due December 28th. So now that I've done this a couple times, so I understand now that y'all's generate your own content. I don't have to be responsible for advertising your stuff. Okay, that's good to know. That leaves me with an open question then. If this is due in December, it'll probably be published in January, February. The master plan got ginked from the last one. It will be too late to put it in the next one. So do y'all have ideas?
Welcome to our world.
I just had a question about the Parks Master Plan. I don't want to go off top. We have like no time. I can ask another time. How do you get surveys for the Parks Master Plan? Do they get sent to every resident of the city?
No, ma'am.
Just certain people?
Right.
I've talked to some random people like, I got it. I'm like, how'd you get that?
Yeah.
So,
They sent it to random people.
Did you ever figure out why it went on social media?
No, I have not.
I'm
Yeah.
a little nervous about that. Like, I got it, and I sent it
We have
straight
a
to Jay,
meeting.
and I was like,
It's
why is this
also
on Facebook?
tomorrow.
Like, people are gonna share it.
Yeah, the firm put it out though.
Yeah, so,
We have a meeting tomorrow with Austin, and I will ask.
so is there any updates that we can put about the master plan? Explain what it is, what's been done, and if there's timeline that we could include?
There's a timeline that we can share, yes.
I think it'd be good to give
Sure.
an explanation of what it's about and why we're doing it, so people have
Right.
an idea.
Sure.
You've already got the master plan for Nettles, but this is the bigger
so
picture.
just have like a more, okay.
Yeah.
Does that sound good to everyone if I do that? Everyone's like, yeah, as long as I
I'll
don't have
get
to
you
do
that
it.
information.
Yeah.
I'll get you that information.
I do want to encourage everyone to fill out the survey that has been sent. Some of you may have gotten a hard copy, but if you haven't, it's online. You can go to clemsonparksurvey.org, I believe, Clemson Survey.
We're trying not to share it.
Parksurvey.org.
We're not sharing it, I thought.
We're not supposed to.
We're not supposed to be sharing it right now.
It's supposed to be a targeted
This is round
sample.
one.
It's not a general survey.
I know, I got fussed at too for sharing.
We're not supposed to share it.
Not sharing yet.
Even that,
It was supposed to be a targeted survey. They should have never put it on Facebook.
okay.
That's my opinion.
Okay.
I didn't put it out there.
I don't either. I didn't even share it, but I was tempted.
Okay, you missed the whole section.
Yeah, you missed the whole
Run
section of
through
the
it.
updates.
What?
Dawson Park
Dawson Park.
update.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
Okay,
Jay.
so
I'll throw the head.
the new basketball backboards are up out there. So we have replaced the backboards out there. I've already heard some positive comments from the community. The shelter and restrooms, that's in progress. They've already dug the septic tank is already in place, and hopefully the building will be here in a couple of months. So that's moving along. The additional parking in pickleball courts we're going out for bid early December. So we're moving on that. Hopefully that will be done by spring or early summer. So that's moving along. The Kilgore Playground, the new playground is coming November the 22nd. I asked them to wait until the soccer tournament is over with, and then the old playground and the surfacing will all be taken up and replaced by new. It's inclusive with ramps and everything. So we'll have a completely new playground there and surfacing. The ice machines, the city council approved to put the 2 ice machines and drink machines at a 12-mile park. It's a local company. They're going to pay the city $300 a month for 5 years to have it out there. They're going to put them in, the slab, electricity, shelter, everything. Won't cost us a dime. And they want to hop on that in December. So, but Tony and I are going to meet with them here in the next week and approve the 2 sites. But there will be one near the beach and one near the boat landing. We talked about the state soccer tournament, December 2nd and 3rd. We had an ADA complaint last spring to the field right behind our office. City council approved to put in a ramp on that field, and the company began work today. So we will have ADA access to the middle soccer before our tournament. So we have a complaint, we have to act on it. So we did. That's it.
Thank you. Sorry, Jay,
That's fine.
I was thinking that was my department reports where I glanced down at that. Any other thing? Anybody? Right? Okay, I approve that we adjourn. Oh, from time.
You got it, Tony?
Jay, was anything done with the rental,
stopped it.
updating the rental policies?
Aaron asked me
We
to
talked about that last time. Nope.
Sorry? Oh, yeah.
I didn't know if anything was
No, we
No basketball.
Not really. I mean, I grew up in Arizona.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. And I was in college when Arizona won the national basketball championship. So I hate to say it, my standards for basketball are pretty high.
Oh, I hear you.
Did I say that out loud?
Right next to that.
Well, I mean,
Keep pushing.
because
her,
that's,
it's
I
going
mean,
to happen.
One day that's gonna happen.
well, one of the things that we thought
That can.
our feasibility study even was how
I know that's my whole I'm getting older and older.
because you have so many people, like not necessarily for doing art, but displaying
I
art.
know.
But there's a lot of synergies you could get with a space like that. So.
Hey, I'm getting almost over.
Mary Beth, did you pass your exam?
I did. I am now a PE.
Is it hard?
No, it was very easy. I'm kind of embarrassed how easy it was.
My wife Elaine, I think what I told you, I think her dad was a professional engineer. Like that. Good for you.
I'm embarrassed how easy it was. Yeah, like, it's an 8.5-hour exam.
Thank you for,
I finished,
I'm glad you decided to
yeah, it's not easy for everyone. I finished it in less than 4 hours.
Oh my goodness, really?
Yeah.
And did you know you passed right away?
No, I didn't know. Like, I was like, if I hadn't passed, I wasn't ever gonna take it again. Because the stuff that I didn't know, the stuff I would never bother with.
So you just took it because?
Pride, personal pride. Because if I didn't get a paying gig for my sabbatical, I didn't want to, like, when, you know, like you come back from sabbatical and they're like, what'd you do? And you're like, nothing.
Now you can say you're.
I'm a PE. I passed the PE.
Way to go.
So if nothing else. Awesome, awesome. Thank you. Thanks for the idea. I appreciate it. No, yeah. You don't even but also, Sarah, in a good way.
I'm surprised they put it, I used to put tons of stuff in it. She included like, she had like 2 pages for personality.
I mean, I gave her several pieces, and also I gave it to her very early. So she might have been like, I'm full. I mean, that was the only thing that I didn't get in where I thought was good. I like what she did with a lot of the content I sent her.
Yeah.
Like, it was better. What was printed was better than what I sent her. So that's.
I must have changed it because I would just send it and it came out. She would format the pictures and stuff, so.
It was different. But maybe it just was, you know, synergistic. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, well, she's done some changes in doing the organization of it, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking.
It's not shut down.
No, it's on Zoom. Look.
It's frozen.
I'm
There
gonna
you go.
shut it down now.
That's it, yeah, there you go. And they put it logged in. Shut it down.
There we go, okay. Yeah, but,
Oh, geez. Yeah, Shannon was saying the one day he couldn't call, he can't get voicemail.
no, it's crazy. Our phones are completely off. It's on the computer.
You're using
Google Voice.
Voice?
Yes. It's all Google. All of it is.
That you're using now?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
I mean,
Google does a ton, but as a city, it's probably not the best.
right.
I guess, I don't know. Yeah, golly. Well, keep you on your toes, Jay.
Did he turn that off?
It looks like it's on still.
I don't know how to turn that off.
It's still on. I don't know if it's recording or not.
Well, I think Tony turned it off. I mean, the stop recording, I think that he did that. Let me look.
I'm gonna let you look.
Yeah, yeah, oh, Savannah did. I thought that, because Ryan had said that he was gonna be in Washington.
They were in DC and they
Right.
got a flight back early. And he texted me that he was on his way. I said, well, have her bring her uniform. He's like, really? She hasn't been there. I was like, she was at all the practices up to when they left. So.
Sure. I think he cut this off.
I hope so.
Stop. That's right.
So yes, in that box there.